This is the Grow Your Business for Good show. We're your hosts. I'm Shannon Hernandez.
And I'm Amy Hager.
This show explores what happens when a business outgrows its message and what it takes to rebuild messaging systems that carry the full depth of your work.
Each episode breaks down how messaging shapes trust, authority, and decision making, and why many established businesses find themselves explaining more while being understood less. We focus on the strategic shifts founders and leadership teams need to make when clarity alone isn't enough, so their expertise comes through without oversimplifying it.
How do you choose thought leadership topics that align with where your business is going next?
If your thinking has evolved, but your thought leadership still sounds like an earlier version of you, this is more common than people realize.
And today we're talking about why that happens and what it actually means.
Strategic thought leadership prepares the market for where you are going in business, not where you've just been. And Shannon kind of broke this down about you don't want to leave the people in your dust when you're driving away. And so unpack this a little bit before we dive too deep, Shannon, because I think you do a much better job of articulating this thought than I do.
Yeah. So I think what we really want you to understand in this episode is that if you are not fully aligned anymore with the topics that made your business what it is, made you the leader what it was, we know they performed well before, and we're like, why the hell are these not working? They always worked in the past. Right.
Right.
This should sound familiar.
Yes.
We need you to rethink that, because what's actually happening is you're not forward facing and bringing your audience on the journey of where your business is going, right? You're actually stalling your growth because it's like you're backwards looking. You're looking in the past. You're
Yeah.
still choosing topics based on what performed well before, or what you're already known for, or what feels safe to repeat again.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you do this, what happens is it reinforces the past chapter of the business.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to give you all a very clear example. So today I sat down and I looked at all the pages in the menu bar of my website. And I needed to go back through and in the meta descriptions of the pages and the social share text and all that messaging that's actually really important, build out the aligned messaging. And I got to our documentary page. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Amy and I spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy on this 10-minute, very well produced documentary of Joyful Business Revolution. I don't want to throw the piece out,
Right.
right? It does a lot. It kind of gives you the heart and soul of the brand and who Amy and I are as people and
Yeah.
how we interact. But we have a problem, Amy. And the
Yeah.
problem is that it talked about organic marketing, which we're not that company anymore,
Right.
right? And so I had to come up with some new wording. And the wording is something like, take a journey with us through the evolution of Joyful Business Revolution.
I like it.
Right. And so people, I don't have to throw out the video, but I
Right.
don't want to promote the video as it's like what we do, but I still get compliments on that video every single week. Somebody is saying, I really loved the documentary of you and Amy, right?
Well, and I think it is still serving that purpose of showing who we are, the deep rooted values of what we've built this brand and this company off of. So I 100% hear you that like, yeah, it still really does show who we are. And the fact that you talked about it as an evolution, I really like that label of it. And, you don't go by the Queen of Organic Marketing anymore. And that was the title that we were using at that time. But it still really does show true the deep-rooted values that we've created the brand, and those are still thriving. And probably also how we knew to make some of the decisions to future face so that that way we could build more momentum as we continue to go and as we continue to talk about the importance of the messaging evolving with the work that you do in this world.
Yeah. And I think it's important for everyone to know that's one very specific example of a piece of content that has a lot of value. And even though it's a little outdated, I could find a way to message it so that it worked. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem comes, and you will all have this problem as your thought leadership evolves, as your business evolves, as your offers evolve, as your messaging evolves. What the hell do we do with all the content that just doesn't make sense anymore? Right. And
Hmm.
so we actually went through and did a blog audit. And I think I have over 1,000 blogs published on the website, which is crazy when you think about it. We're going to remove about 2/3 of those in this next iteration of cleanup because there's stuff from when I was doing memoir coaching. Like people don't even know that I was memoir coaching, right? Like it was a
Right.
little glimpse of a piece of Shannon before Joyful Business Revolution. Not at all important now for the work that I'm doing. Um, so it's got to go. And so we identified where are the things that need to go from the content log or library. What are the things that we can just add like an editor's note or Shannon's note at the top because it's
Right.
still really good content. And then what is fine. And I want you all to know this is a labor of love when you have a content trail as long as most of us have at this stage in business. But it's very important because there is a hidden cost of misaligned topics, right? And I'm going to let Amy kind of dive into this of what happens when all these misaligned topics are still floating around or you're still trying to talk about misaligned topics because it's comfortable.
Yeah, I think it really does make your growth feel a lot heavier than it should. And so if the topics don't necessarily reflect your future direction, the right opportunities aren't going to present themselves. Your audience stays with the old offer or with the old version of you. And that really creates that friction when you're introducing what's next. And I think the other thing too that I frequently hear, because again, our communities are small. We know we have clients who we know they're friends because they were past clients or they referred or they've been following us, right? And so there's this, we create these communities of conversation to be curious and ask each other questions and to get clearer on our messaging. I think what I often hear is, I've known so and so for years, and I don't know what they do right now. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. And so there that it doesn't make sense to me anymore alludes to there was a time that it did make sense. And so if you're feeling that as the thought leader and as the founder, your audience is probably feeling that too.
Yeah. And the warm, fuzzy internet hug I can give you, because we all need more hugs, right? Is that the people who love what you stand for in general, how you show up, how you treat people, how you make people feel online, on Zoom, in your content, right? They will actually stay with you through these transitions.
Yeah.
And they're genuinely like interested in what the hell is going to happen next. I will say, like, we signed a client last year, Amy, and I remember her sitting in training. She's like, I have been on your email list for 10 years. I have watched you. She named it. I watched you leave teaching. I watched
Yeah.
you do copywriting. I watched you pivot into marketing strategy. I watched you do more. It's like she took me through my own timeline of
Right.
existence, right? But when we asked her, why have you stayed? She said, I love the content. I
Hmm.
love the viewpoints. The content makes me think. I knew there'd be a time when I was ready. And so I
Yeah.
just stayed.
Yeah. And I think, again, that is a beautiful point of your cheerleaders and your champions are still going to be there cheering you on because they know you do great work in this world. And so a lot of times people get so nervous that they're going to lose everybody or that, oh, this is really evolved. This is really different than what I used to do. I need to get rid of all the old people off my email list. No, you don't. They're going to be there cheering you on. They may be some of the best referrals that you've ever gotten before, or who knows, they may be clients. We never know when we show up at the right time, at the right place in someone's life. So you want to make sure that you're really giving people the opportunity to be emotionally and intellectually connected with you.
Mm, I love that. The other thing about future facing thought leadership is not only does it allow people to still be emotionally and intellectually connected with you, but when you start landing on the new message, even if you don't have it all figured out yet, right? You start introducing, hey, I've been thinking about this. What do you think? I've done so many of these posts in the last 3 or 4 months on LinkedIn, right? Hey, I've been talking with people and I'm seeing this. What do you think? Is this happening to you? I wasn't introducing new offers. In fact, I don't have new offers, right? My offers didn't have to change. But what needed to change was the messaging system around the work. And
Yes.
that's what is probably landing with all of you who are hanging on to this episode. And you're
Yeah.
wondering, like, oh, maybe this is why it's felt misaligned. Well, here's the good news. When you're in this place, great things have happened. You've evolved. Your leadership has evolved. Your direction has evolved. Your discernment has evolved. How you think about and solve problems in your field and in your industry and in your expertise has evolved. The industry has evolved, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to do the education of saying those things. Hey, AI hit the scene and Joyful Business Revolution as an organic marketing strategy company tanked. What did I do about it? I have told that story more in the past 2 weeks to people than any other story that I've told in a long time.
Yeah.
And people have said to me, wow, I'm really glad you listened to your intuition. And I said, well, I also listened to my bank account because it wasn't pretty,
Yes.
right? But I also had to go deep and I had to go to the core of who I am. And I had to say, okay, and y'all, I got a little saucy, not gonna lie. So brace yourselves. I said, all right, if these people think AI can give them a marketing strategy, it can. But what it can't do is give them a messaging system that holds the depth of their body of work and scales with them. And I had to put my flag in that ground. And it was not an easy process. It took people a while. They're like, is she marketing or is she messaging? Well, spoiler alert, all the marketing strategies worked because the messaging was on point. So
Right.
all along, I should have just stuck with words and messaging,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
At
We
the end
didn't
of the
need to
day.
change the strategy. It was the words that we needed to up level. And so when you're thinking about your own, I'm going to roll with the future facing thought leadership. And how do you choose what topics to lead? Really start with what you're noticing now. What feels more complex than it used to, and what you're no longer interested in debating. And
Mm.
I think those future facing topics often, and this comes real natural to Shannon, often challenge the existing assumptions.
Yes. And they also allow us to synthesize our past insights and how we used to think about things into the new direction we're going.
Right.
Okay. And this is huge, right? And I want to slow down. And if you are not driving or listening to this on a bicycle, please stop and write this down. We're giving you 3 big topic buckets you can start with if you're in this messy middle of messaging evolution.
Mm,
Number 1, What are you noticing now in your industry? Just say it. What are you noticing? You don't have to go prove anything, but like, hey, I've been talking with people and here's what I'm noticing. And then say it, right?
And I think when you're doing this too, your goal isn't to predict
No.
at all. You are not talking about the trends or talking about the future. Or what does the future of marketing and messaging look like, Amy and Shannon? You are not predicting when you're noticing what's going on right now. So that's number one.
Yeah. Yeah. Number two bucket you can really play with is what feels more complex than it used to.
Hmm.
So I know last year we had so many businesses come to us who really were put in a very hard position when the current administration took back DEI language and
Yeah.
all of these things. Like I was involved in a public speaking company as their embedded messaging strategist, and they had built their entire brand on helping marginalized voices get heard. And that was really complex. We're not through it yet. All right. But it was hard. We were having tough conversations in team meetings. Like, do we need to take this language off? Are we being targeted? There was a lot going on with that. Okay.
Right.
And so part of that process is the founder, this is your bucket number 3, came to the point where he was no longer interested in debating
Mm.
whether his work was, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or whether his work for marginalized voices mattered. Like there comes a point where we do debate those things early on. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I debated AI shit for a long time. And then I
Hmm.
just kind of got sick of it. Right.
Right.
And because people actually I think more people are on my side now than not, in terms of it's not really producing great messaging. It can do
No.
a lot of other things, but it's not doing the work of messaging systems. Right. So if you find yourself in this situation, these are the content buckets, the topic buckets that you can center yourself around, and you don't have to have all the answers, but start conversations with people, challenge the assumptions, synthesize what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, where you think you might be headed. And that's going to really help you um, point your thought leadership forward and not be anchored like an anchor on a boat to the past of what you've always done and what worked before.
Right.
Okay. And the market needs help adjusting to where you're going. Your people, it's like you're a lighthouse, you're a beacon, and your light is out there. And it might be really freaking foggy for a while, but just stay with it. Right. And when you get it, you get it. I told Amy yesterday I was on fire on her Voxer. And the only thing she said to me is, Shannon, run, keep running. You got it. Like, you have got it now. Right. So
Right.
there's going to be that fog around the lighthouse. Okay. And know that that's normal, but also know that we are here to support you, help you excavate and get rid of the past stuff that no longer fits and step into the identity of who you need to become for your future topics.
Right. And so if you are, I want to make sure that we're wrapping up this episode. And if you're like, holy cow, yes, I'm feeling exactly what you're saying. The 3 buckets that you outlined about what you're noticing now, what feels more complex, and what are you no longer interested in debating all makes sense. But I still need a little bit more to ground me into this. Don't worry, we've got a great resource for you to dive into. You can download our profit-driven messaging ecosystem guide at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/profit messaging to help bring this episode kind of fruition. And if you're still struggling with this, if you don't feel like you have the community that you can ask these questions to, or you're asking questions and you're not getting the feedback, then reach out to us. I think that's where we really can help support you in that growth and in that evolution of your messaging.
So until next time, go do the work of evolution, y'all. Step into that identity, and we'll talk to you soon. Adios.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Grow Your Business for Good. This show is a part of our work at the Joyful Business Revolution, where we help founders and leadership teams rebuild messaging systems when their work has outgrown their message. If you're explaining too much and people still don't fully understand the value of your work, you can explore more at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com.
Until next time, remember this: when your messaging system is aligned, sales conversations shorten, and your expertise comes through clearly.